Well, hello! Welcome to Drawing with Fire. I'm Valarie, your neighborhood pyrography artist, joined with hubby
Okay.
and fur babies.
Woof,
And
woof, woof.
today we are
Free
focusing on creating a realistic raven eye. I'm going to be starting off with the Optima 9M. Then we might switch over to the small or medium ball tip, and then go from there with probably the 18 small, because that tends to be the one I grab the most. Hey Sheila, hey Spence, hey Wanda. Hopefully more people will come in because we are public, so there will be ads. I do apologize. I try to make them the least amount of ads as possible. And we're going to get going. I do quickly want to go over how to clean your tips because we are public, and don't forget, cleaning your tips is important. This is a leather strop. This side is sandpaper. We don't use this side. We use only this side, and the white that is on here is aluminum oxide powder. And this is what I use. It's very fine. You can't even tell I've used it because you use so little of it. And hopefully everybody can hear us. See? And I've had this for years, and that's as much as I've used of it. That's just this little dip over here. That's how little. And I used it for other things too. So not just to clean my tips. So I'm going to go ahead and use the 18 small. Run your finger over the tip. See if you feel any resistance, which I do feel a little because I was actually burning.
Can everyone hear us?
To what?
Well, I'm looking at the microphone meter, and it's not moving at all.
I've got another right there.
Oh, okay.
So swipe in where the white powder is. Couple of swipes. Go to a clean area. Just kind of wipe it off. Run your fingertip over it. Nail. Feels all good. I haven't used this tip in a while. This is the 9M. So I'm going to quickly just do this. This is truly how easy it is to clean your tips. Run it over a clean area. Boom. Oh, clean. And make sure to, just run your tip over your strop a couple of times before you get started. And that will help keep it sharp and shiny. It keeps, the way I just showed you, keeps the oxide layer on, which is that dark color that you see on your tip is the oxide layer. The oxide layer is stronger than a carbon layer, and that just helps your tips. Hey Andrea. Yeah, it's a good habit just to quickly clean your tips. Alright, so in the members' lives, we created our pattern, transferred it, or printed it out on tracing paper, and then last week we transferred it over the line. The members have the pattern. I'm pretty sure I got everything, though. Let's get this off. I'm going to tape it to my board just so I know where what's what lines are what. There we go. And there was something I saw that I want to quickly add to, because I zoomed in the photo. So we're going to switch it out. Yep, that's the eye and beak. We're going to put this one on. There we go. Let's click that one off so that we're really zoomed in. And looking at it, I just want to have, there's a little lip right here. So I want to get that in real quick. We've got a little bit of white or light right here. So I'm going to draw that in real quick. This curves around to a lighter area, so I'll make sure I see that. And in the live for the members, when we created this pattern, we actually replaced this eye and the beak hair because we didn't like how the reference looked with that. So we changed the reference to what we like. You know, I'm just going to put a dot right here. This is charcoal white. It's safe to burn around this. And let's see here. Make sure I got everything going. Yep. And then I also printed out a close-up of just the raven eye. There we go. So I've been heating at the 9M on 2. Yeah, that should be good. I'm actually going to move the camera in and work at an angle so you guys can see what's going on. There we go. Get that close up for you. Alright. That should be good. Hopefully we won't have too much shadow. I'm going to turn on another light so we can drop that shadow. Now I need to move my chair in so I can see what's going on. And we're going to start where we drew in that little lip. I'm just going to go nice and small. That's why I'm using the the 9M. And we've got a dark that goes right here, so we're going to get that dark in. And the reason I'm going to switch over to a ball tip is because we do have a bigger area. So I just want to make sure and get that area. We got a dark here. Now the reason we didn't like the raven eye because ravens have a clear eyelid and it kind of looked like the eye had a cataract, and that's because this photograph was taken right as the raven had its eyelid over the eye, and it just kind of looked off. We didn't like it, so we switched it out. As artists, we can make those changes to suit our pieces. Let's see here. Do I have... I'm looking to see if I have any other little places within the eye. We do have outside the eye, but right now I'm not focused on that. We are focusing on the inside. So I'm going to switch over to... We're going to switch over to... We're going to go ahead and go with the small ball tip. And I'm going to wipe that off real quick because I haven't used it in a while. Just like how we clean the tips at the beginning. There we go. I'm going to go to 2.5. And remember, when there's more metal on the end of the tip, it might require a slightly higher heat setting. And that's just because there's more metal to heat up. Let's see, 2.5 is still waiting for it to heat. Yeah, we're going to go higher. I'm going to bump up to 3. And I'm testing on my test board right now. There we go. We're going to start. Just doing small circles just to fill it in smoothly. Because we want this eye to look 3D. So I'm getting my darkest parts in right now. Let's see here. I can make this a little shorter. If I move quicker, it goes lighter.
Spence says, can you tell if your pen needs to be cleaned because you have to turn the heat higher to get it to burn?
That is one way. That is one way. But also, at least when I'm burning, I can feel resistance on the tip. So I know it needs to be clean then. Alright, so I'm leaving a little lighter area. It's still dark, but I'm going to leave a little lighter area. Just trying to get my shapes right. The shapes are the most important part.
Spence says, and it only seems to burn from spots on the pen.
Hmm? Can you
Like, do you mean that there's only certain spots where the pen actually burns well, or describe a bit more, please?
Please. So I'm trying to get these shapes right while we wait for... So this is the darkest part of the eye right here. Right up next to the highlight. I'm going to curve this a little bit more. And then I'm going to end up lowering my heat to go into these areas down here because they are lighter.
So he says it seems to be in the flat part of the pen where it doesn't burn from. Well, I mean, Val will answer this, but I think since the metal, it's just kind of physics. So if your pen isn't burning from certain spots, the pen should heat the metal pretty equally. So if it's not burning from certain spots, then there has to be something that's impeding it, I think, on the surface. So maybe it does need to be cleaned.
Yeah.
But I think you'll be able to see that on your pen too, because you'll see some spots that are shiny and others that might be duller and or even discolored. And if they are duller, the shiny part should burn just fine. But if it's duller, then maybe that needs to be polished. Maybe. There is a possibility that the pen was overheated and has that's affected it overall. So, like in some places, if it's discolored, it might indicate that the heat is not traveling to those areas as freely. That's a guess, though. I don't know. Val's the expert. Why is Hubcap talking? I don't know.
Alright, I bumped down to 2. I'm going to get this in and then I'm going to address. Because I think you're right in regards to the polish. Maybe it's not polished as smooth.
Mm-hmm. That's the only thing I can think of, because there's no segmentation in the pen. Like, there's no different kinds of metal there. It's one piece. So if there is a difference in how it's burning from one part to the other, it could mean that temper has been affected in the pen and that's causing some resistance. Or it could be that it's not polished as much in certain areas.
So right now I'm just blocking in. I'm going to get that detail.
He says if it's been overheated, does he buy a new pen?
Nope. Just all you have to do, because you also do carving, and is to... Probably the best person to talk to on how to re-polish your tip, because I know he's got an Optima, would be to contact Pat, because I don't want to give you bad information. But no, you don't need to buy a new pen. You just have to bring back the polished part, and then you're all good. You can do that with your strop and aluminum oxide. going to darken this part up. I'm trying to make sure I keep the shape of the highlight and just the smaller areas. Now if you're doing a really small raven eye, you are not going to put this much detail in. You're just going to do really a couple of strokes of different shade versus going full on dark. Let's see here. So this part where I left isn't white. We've only got a white right here and a little white right here. But now you can redo your tips at home. And if you have a rotary tool, you can use the rotary tool. Again, I would send Pat a quick message and he can tell you exactly how to repolish your tips. So right now I'm just doing small circles on 2, and even though I burned hotter, I can still smooth out that dark burn with a lower temperature.
He says, okay, thanks.
Yeah.
Spence says he knows that he's been hard on that pan. Because he was new to burning.
Yep. Luckily, you don't have to buy a new one. It's just a matter of repolishing, getting the oxide layer back, and then you're good to go. Let's see here. Trying to curve my shadows a little bit, or my lighter areas. Because it's a round object, so we do need to match the shape. And then once I put the other stuff in around it, because we do need to put these darks in around it, and then we'll kind of segment off. Because they have a ridge around their eye that's white, as soon as we put that in, it'll start really looking like the eye. Let's see here. And I can, just see here, based on this size, I can use the small spear shader to get in there. So I'm going to switch over. I'm going to go up to 2.5 to start. See how those strokes look. Move my cord so I'm not getting all tangled. Get a drink while I'm waiting.
He says this time since I started again, he's been making sure he doesn't press hard.
Sometimes you can put a little weight, not a lot, a little weight just to kind of push down the grain. But you don't want to put any heavy weight onto any of your pins. Alright, so I'm going to use the edge. So I'm up on my edge, but not fully on the edge. I'm not like this on the edge. I'm turned slightly. Is it blurry to you guys? Or is it just me? Let me check my
focus. Blurry for a second.
Did it? Let me check.
Seems like autofocus is on.
Nope, it's off. It is off. Maybe it is. If it's a little fuzzy to you, look for the gear to make sure it's running 1080p 60 on your screen. It's either on the bottom right if you're on your PC. It tends to be on the top right if you are on mobile. And make sure your setting is the, there we go. Maybe it's because I was pushed up a little too far on the wood, on the screen. There. Alright. Remember, when you put your pen down, it's gonna fully recover its heat. So we're gonna take our time. I'm just working on the tip. I'm not trying to outline, but I am trying to get right up against it, and I'm making little strokes and turning to get just the tip. Remember, you can do a lot with one pen. You just need to get comfortable with all of its burning sides. Ball tips are ball tips. But these other tips, like a spear shader, you have multiple areas you can use. So I'm on 3. Oh no, I'm on 2.5. I'm going to drag and shape. And if I get a little too crazy, I can always pull it back, so it's not a big deal. Take a deep breath and relax. So for this piece, the I and the beak are, for me, the most important part of the piece. Let's see, that one a little light, so I'm going to go on my tip. Remember, the very end of a tip is going to be the hottest area, because that's where all the heat is coming together and focusing.
He says slightly.
Slightly what?
I don't know. Burl's
Hey,
here.
Burl! Alright, we're going to come underneath. Remember, it's easier to flip your wood than it is to stand on your head. At least for me. You will not catch me. Well, that's not true. Sometimes I can get into contorted, strange positions trying to burn. This area is going to go darker. I'm just blocking it in. Then I'll come back to it. See, even within the eye, I can get into and tighten up some of those smaller areas. Outside the eye, because the feathers around a raven's eye, they are sunk back in, which is why we have this darker area. And those really help give depth. If we get this dark in, really will help the eyeball pop out. And we do want to go as much as possible in the direction of the feathers. I almost said fur. They're so small they kind of seem like fur, but they're not. Although they do kind of act like fur burning wise. Trying to remember on here. You know, we're going to come down here to this smaller area. And because we're working on the head, the feathers are going in this direction. Now they may change, you know, but in general they're going from right to left. And so this is the darkest part. I'm just spinning the wood and using the tip. So this is on 2.5. And because of how I'm using my pen, that's why I'm getting a darker burn in this section. Now when I go to do something else, I'll get a lighter burn, and I'm working on basswood. Now, if it's on birch, it's going to burn a little lighter because birch requires a little bit more heat than basswood does. So these feathers here go up and around, so I'm going to drag up, move around. And again, if you're working on something smaller, a raven that's smaller than this, we've got a pretty big eye, and I did that intentionally because I wanted to focus on the eye. We get to put more detail, but when it's smaller, we really only do a couple of strokes to fill in the area. Let's see here. So the darkest part is going to be on the eye ridge around. I don't know if we want to call it a lid or... So right up against this area is going to be the darkest part because of how everything falls. This area is in a valley further away from the light. So it's going to be the darkest area. But I didn't go around it with like the 9M because I don't want it to look outlined. I want it to look natural. Outlines, in general, unless you're doing an undercut of a burn, so whether it's fur or hair or feathers, if you're doing an underburn, like along the edge for a shadow, it may start off looking like an outline. But by the time you're finished, it shouldn't. Because you should have blended those areas. So I'm just smoothing out a bit more and shaping our darkest areas. Making sure I get this shape. And I'm off camera. Sorry, because maybe I should up my camera a little bit like this. And then I can work up here.
So out of practice, I was watching chat and I forgot to look at the camera.
There we go. We just continue to shape. See, it's more and more looking, but you guys are also at an angle, so more and more it's looking like a raised or a 3D realistic eyeball, and that's what we want. Remember, the camera's at an angle, so that might be, it might look a little off to you, and that's just so you can see how I'm using the pen in general. Now here we have some lighter hair, fur that comes down. Fur. It's not fur. It is feathers. What I can do, just so I have a visual of where some of this is lying, is I can just kind of put some in, just so I don't lose them. You can always go back and kind of scratch them out, but that can be quite a pain. And if I can get away with not scratching, then I will do it. Alright, let's curve this. I'm going to go ahead and bump down to 2. Just to make sure it burns a little lighter. Again, curving. What I'm doing is going, one, you guys are seeing a bigger version than I am because I'm zoomed in. I'm trying, so I'm on the tip, but I'm also turned to the right so that I can get that edge, which is thinner. Get that shape right. So now we've got some feathers coming down. But again, make sure to angle in the direction you want to go. These feathers go down and curve, whereas the top ones come up and curve using the left side of your pen. The bottom ones come out and curve on the right side of your pen. Vice versa if you... Whoa. Nope, it's still the same even if you're left-handed. I was about to say if you're left-handed it's the opposite, but in this case it is not. So now we have lighter feathers without scratching. On the right, because again I'm doing a backward C, so it's little soft U strokes on the right leg of my tip. And I'll darken as I'll go. These are much lighter feathers that I'm not even going to focus on right now. I'm just going to leave this space. There we go. And I can still come in a little closer. Make this a little bit bigger down at the bottom. I'm not flat. I'm using the tip left. Just dragging. And just shaping.
You get kind of close to the top of the screen.
Thank you. Just smoothing out the burn. It's nice that we can use lower heat settings to smooth out a darker burn. Alright. Let's back out the camera so you guys can see. So we'll angle it so it's correct. Try to. I put my easel back up so I didn't have to have my chair so high. So I will. So now our eyeball matches the eyeball in the photo. Now I do need to make this shadow right here a little bigger, which is fine. But right now I'm just looking for the shape. Let me switch over. There we go. So now our eyeball looks like an eyeball, which is exactly what we want. Let's see here. Trying to get the angle to match the photo, so I'm lining up the beak. Yep, looks exactly the way I want it. Yay! So now those little pieces in between, those, it's like, keeps bumping me in the head. Let's try this. Did I make it too dark? Right. I'm going to actually switch over. Whew. How does it get warm in here so quickly? let's go back to the 9M. And I think I'll keep it on 2 because we're in such a small area. I didn't even draw it in because I can hand do this. For my white, let's see here. We've got white here. Let's see here, they're a little bit bigger. So I'm going to draw them in real quick. Stop about there for the white. Put this one in. If I was doing a bigger eye, I would put them in, but because it's such a small area, I didn't want. Then we're going to do some erasing. Let's see here, this is on the top. And I'm just doing this so I visually know this is not an area I'm going to be burning in. Zoom you guys back in. I'll probably keep us more on. There we go. Quickly turn on focus and turn off. There we go. There. So this is going to burn right on my test board. Sorry, I was readjusting. But when I touch down, it's going to burn darker. See, I can reshape. I think this needs to go up a little bit more. There we go. And then we can bring this and just trying to nail down the shape. So I'm going to look, let's see here. Curve it around, straighten it up. So now I'm just going to make some quick strikes. Quick touchdowns to burn. Keep it light. Some of it I'm going to darken so that it reads right. But for this, we kind of have rays coming off of it. And these strikes. Strokes. That's the word I'm going for. Shape that a little bit better. And I can go in between and underneath these feather strokes that we put in to darken in between. Really get this shape set up. And then as we put in more feathers, it's going to look more and more realistic. Some of these areas do not get white because they do have tone to them. So that's the C stroke or the U stroke. And just darkening. It's kind of moving around. Because over here, we do need to pull out some darks. I'll do that actually with 18 small. I'm just darkening. See how those lights popped out? Because I'm burning around and building up the darks underneath, which gives us that realistic look we're going for. You can't have lights without the darks. Alright, that's the line that continued.
Smith says it's coming alive now.
Yep, it's really starting to. Let's see, I need to shape the, there's a little protruding part that I'm trying to shape. See, if you just take the time, I mean, I know it took us, 35 minutes to put an eye in, but if I put in the eye right when I first start burning, then I don't have to keep going back and spending more time. And if I get the eye right, then I feel comfortable continuing with my burning. If I screw up the eye, which is why I start with the eye, then I can start over without having have done all this other work. Which is, so that's why, one, I start with the eye, because then it gives me the focus to continue. But also, if I mess it up, I have less to fix. And I haven't gone and done all this other work only to have to start over again. I'm going to bring in some indent here just to give that feeling. This part's a little darker. Again, I'm just on 2 because I'm using my speed to control go. Boom. I would call the eye overall done. I don't feel like I'm gonna have the eyeball. I don't feel like I'm gonna have to work anymore on it. So we're gonna push out our darks here. And the way I'm gonna do the beak fur, which we're not gonna do today, I'm just gonna pull this out and then we've got some fur. I said fur again. Feathers. Is the same way I did here. I might need to put some darker underneath just to separate them. That's fine. But for now, we're going to pull our darks out. And see, the dark goes all the way up into these feathers. Let me see how I've got it drawn. Yep. My transfer line is light, that's why. So I'll fix that line in a minute. Right now I'm just gonna.
And Spence says, haha, fur.
make sure I'm still on. So right now I'm doing backward C's. You can see how dark it's burning at 2.5. If I want it to burn darker, I would just go slower. Turning my board. Again, the same way I would do fur and hair. Right there, I'm just tapping with the tip just so I can get right up against to separate these feathers from under the eye. And let's see here. I think so I can go a little quicker. I'm just going to bump it up to like 2 3/4. And quickly.
Andrea says, I understand how I can make my burnings much better, slow and steady.
Yep.
Helps you, I think she said, helps keep you reduce your issues in the future.
Yep. Absolutely. Less fixes. Just take your time. And I know it sucks and you want to go and you want to go. I totally understand that. But when you spend this little extra time, makes all the difference. Now, I can do a little bit of erasing. I was just thinking about this, just so I can get into a little area. There we go. So if I keep the board there. So this part, I need to drag more towards the beak because the feathers are going towards the beak. And I can leave some tonal value, meaning it's not solid, just so I can adjust later. If I need to. May not need to. Here I'm just using the tip. Dragging towards the beak. Then I can go back over it and do longer strokes. This is just to get the dark in there. See, I'm doing smaller strokes. And I've slowed down, so now it's burning darker. But we do have some feathers up in here that we can kind of see. So I'll go on the edge just to kind of mark them out, but then I'll burn darker around it. Darken it up. Because even within our darks, like our pretty good darks, there are still light areas. Where it's not quite as dark. I could burn this solid black, but then it's going to feel flat. And I don't want it to feel flat. That's what I'm trying to keep from happening. And remember, when I go to varnish, even the lighter darks are going to darken up, because that's just the way it goes. But if I leave some variant in it, it feels more realistic. And that's what I want. So these feathers, I can go back up on the edge to just kind of cut out where the darker part is touching. We're not going to come all the way down in here because next week we'll do the beak. I mean, if I just sat and burned, I could get all this done quickly, but I want to make sure I show you guys. Just by taking a little bit more time. I'm not racing anybody. I'm not racing the clock. I'm just burning. Darken this up a little bit so I'm the top half of the tip. Dragging it down. When I go up next to the eye, it's just a small twist. It's not. I try to show you guys and I try to describe it, but it is hard because I'm doing micro movements and I'm having to slow down because I don't want to confuse anybody. But if I was burning off camera, this whole area would already be done. So, and that's even with taking my time. Because this is still pretty small.
Yeah, 5 minutes to the top of the hour.
Oh, wow. And look at that, we got a realistic eye.
Puppies have been very good.
I'm glad we chose to change the eye. I don't want to say fix because there was nothing wrong with the raven eye.
Yeah.
I just wanted to make it different. And that's part of being an artist. It's changing things that maybe doesn't work for the piece to something closer to your own vision. And just doing a little bit more darkening, and I'm just on the tip. Just smoothing out. But you always need the darks. The darks are what make the light shine. So if you feel like your piece is flat or boring or just it's missing something that you envisioned, look at your darks. Could you go darker? And if the answer is yes, then you need to go darker. I know it's hard. It's always hard to go darker because you're so worried you're going to mess it up, but you're not going to mess it up.
And the end result is worthwhile.
It is. You will be so surprised if you just take a deep breath and Go, alright, I'm going darker.
I think a lot of artists, they quit before their pieces reach their potential. And taking it that little extra distance and making it darker, spending the time to do that, is a really big payoff in the end.
So like I said, we got lighter feathers in here, but if you notice, they're still dark.
How much longer do you plan to go?
Let's see if we got any other questions.
Okay. I'm going to take them out before you end the stream.
Okay. They've been good girls.
I know they have. I just don't want any accidents.
Yeah. For those who don't know, we got a puppy. Although he's growing fast.
Yep.
He's already almost 4 months old.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't feel like we've had her for that long.
Well, we got her at 3 months.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. We've had her, but we've had her for a month though.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy.
Alright. So let's back it off and look at it. We spent that little extra time just to get a little extra detail. And look at that. Ooh, I am excited.
Yeah?
Oh yeah.
Oh, good deal.
Which if you've been around for any length of time, you know. That's a big deal for me to say that.
That's a big deal.
Wow, I can't wait to get the rest of it in.
Cool.
I feel like it's got depth. Why does it look? Is it my glasses that look blurry, or
No, it's blurry right now. It'll resolve in a second.
is it because I moved the camera
I
around?
don't know. Yeah.
There we go. Oh, much better. I put the autofocus on because my hands aren't on the screen. So
Spence says, I used to want my piece done in an hour, but now I'm learning to enjoy taking my
yeah, just take your time. The wood, I promise, is not running away.
You know,
Nobody's gonna come steal your piece of wood.
I have that same tendency to be impatient, and my advice is that when you feel that, put the piece down.
Yep.
And do something else, because you're not done with the piece, you're just done for right now, and then you can go back and work on it some more. But if you try and push through when you're feeling impatient, it will be detrimental in the end. But the more time that you can spend on a piece, and the more time that you can spend really enjoy doing the process, which is really the point of it anyway. That's why we do these things, not just to have an output product. It's the process, it's the journey of getting there. And so if you can take as much time as you can to make sure that it's what you envision, you'll be happier in the end, I think.
I'm just doing a little comparison. I think this is the best Raven eyeball I have ever done.
Well, good for you.
Mm-hmm.
I can't wait to see this one done. I'm sure it's going to be awesome.
Let's see.
Hopefully, as we said it before, hopefully whenever you do a new piece, hopefully you learn from everything that you've done before, and then there is a hope that every newest piece is also your best piece.
That's right. That is our goal. I'm just trying to...
Spence says I try to put in at least a half an hour each time. A good deal.
Yeah, if you just... Because we all work different. If you just take the time that works for you, you will just add a little bit more.
Girl says, well, I take hours with the tiniest of details.
And if that... And that works too.
Spence says, and up to an hour. A good
Yep.
deal.
So next week we're going to work on the beak and the beak feathers. Now so we have the eye perspective right. This beak is it's not flat. It's not a full horizontal beak. The beak is foreshortened, so we need to burn it that way so that it looks right. So we're going to be spending at least an hour on the beak but that also includes these feathers that are on top of the beak. They have to be going in the right direction as well in order for it to look right. So we will take that time and make a realistic beak next week. I'm just erasing some graphite. Any of the under the dark burn, obviously I don't care.
Burl says, my magnifying glass, it's my friend.
I have one of those, but I try real hard not to.
Wanda says, getting to that, Burl. And Wanda says, my eyes are not what they used to be.
Oh, my eyes bounced a couple of times while we were doing this.
You know, I was like halfway through my art degree when I realized that I was having more and more problems seeing details, and I had to break down and get reading glasses. And I was resistant at the time because I've had really good vision all my life, and you know that's kind of entitled. But once I got my reading glasses, life got better because I could really see what I was painting. And I actually have several different prescriptions of reading glasses because you know reading glasses are pretty cheap for when I'm doing like when I'm working at different distances or if I'm looking at different detail. So it depends on what I'm doing.
Took a lot for him to admit it.
It did. I have an eye appointment on Monday too.
Do you?
Yeah, check it. I forget where it is, so that's going to be something I have to research.
It's on the refrigerator.
Is it?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, good. See, this is what I am her hubcap, and she takes care of everything else.
But hubcaps are important.
Yes, they keep people from seeing the bolts on the wheel, and that's it.
No. You know, every time I tell myself, I gotta remember to tell everybody, if you're new, to subscribe. Don't forget to hit the like button, because we are public, so that YouTube will remember who in the world I am, because it's been a while. I mean, we've been doing member lives, but not public lives.
Yeah.
If you want to become a member, hit the join button down below. If you don't want to join through YouTube, you can also, there's a link in the description of the video that allows you to join through Ko-fi, and actually more money. So YouTube doesn't get any of the money. I don't see any of your information. And it's just like you're a member on YouTube when we do member only lives. If you would prefer to do it that way, you get two options.
But you should only you should only join if you want to be one of the cool kids. And also learn a lot of excellent
extra stuff,
pyrography techniques from a master pyrographer.
I would never call myself a
and
master.
I was just
I'll let
say,
you do it.
And there's
I won't do
where
it.
she says that it's true.
I won't do it.
And then Valarie's.
Hi, Fred. Welcome.
Valarie's instruction is a bit different because she's not going to try and rush you to doing a quick piece. She's going to teach you how to do things correctly, and she's going to teach you how to create quality work.
All right, you get your tip later.
Oh. Oh my.
Fred, we were just ending. I'm sorry, but we will have a public live next week working on the beak. In fact, I think for the most part.
Oh. He says it's hard to find your channel unless you're signed in. That's weird. Well, we were here at this time, but an hour earlier, Fred.
Yes, an hour earlier. I'm not sure what time it is for you in the Netherlands right now, but next week's live, if you look at your clock right now and then push back an hour,
It's like
we'll be live.
9 at night there, I think.
Is it like 9? Well, the UK is, we start at 7 UK time. So yeah, I guess it's about 9 o'clock-ish for Europe.
So if you start at like around 8, whatever is an hour earlier, Fred. I miss the Netherlands. I've been to the Netherlands. It's lovely there.
But thank you for popping into chat.
Yes.
And please come next week.
Yes.
And you can watch this on replay.
So
It
we're
is
doing a public next week?
Yes, it's a public
Awesome.
next week.
Okay.
Yeah, because we're doing the beak.
I'm going to take the doggies out.
Okay.
They're up. Let's go. Come on, puppies.
Well, you know what to say. You're awesome. You can do this. Why? Because you're a pyro artist.
Let's go.
Happy burning, guys. See you next week.
Come on.
Bye.
Come on, Morgan.